First of all, I appreciate you tuning in as we prep for the Chicago Marathon here in 2024. I hope you're all having a good day. Happy running to everyone. And if you're in the same journey as me, good luck and just get out there. But like I said, my name is June. This is week one of my Bank of America Chicago Marathon training block. Coming up here in October, I believe it's 13th, 2024. For those wondering, yes, this is my first marathon ever, and only my third run ever here in 2024. I'm excited, I'm nervous, and a bit scared. But from what I hear, the vibes are immaculate from beginning to end. So very excited for that. For those that I've spoken with, and even watching here right on YouTube, they say that Chicago, as far as the overall feel, is a great course. The time of year tends to be great. I fingers crossed, I hope it's cool. But who knows? It can snow, it can rain, it can be hot. But regardless, right, we're going to push through it. The goal here is to finish. So like I said, this is June. A little bit about me, just before we jump right into week one's breakdown. 36 years old. I am a father of a beautiful 9-year-old daughter. Been married for 11 years to an amazing wife. I have 2 dogs. Shout out to Cooper and Nala. It's a nice little family. I live in the suburbs of Chicago. So as far as commuting, I'm right down the block, so to say. But I started running at the end of, actually mid-October 2023. I'll be honest, I never thought I would be here. This was not even in my scope of things I wanted to do. But after going through some mental battles, anxiety, a bit of depression last year, as well as some physical, I don't want to say disabilities, but I've had back problems all my life. But with the career I have, I sit most of the day. And anyways, with lack of exercise, my back was in pain 24/7 for several months. And it wasn't until I started to do some physical activities that started to ease up. And then as I started running, thank God I haven't felt pain again. So from barely any mobility, from being able to stand or sit for too long, to now running is a huge accomplishment for me. So if I could do it, trust me, get your shoes on, get out there, and just push yourself. But yeah, so I started October 2023 after one of my buddies came out here and finished the Chicago Marathon himself. And what caught my attention was just the environment and the overall welcoming feeling I received from everyone. And I was just joining him through some activities he was doing in the collection of his bib and whatnot. So I was recording for him. But regardless, it was amazing. And I was like, I need to be a part of this next year. So a week later after he left, I just put on some shoes, not even running shoes. I put on some shoes and I took off running. And happy to say that I was able, again, this year alone, I was able to complete the Shamrock Shuffle Run, sponsored by Bank of America back in March. A simple 5 miles. And then pushed and started training for the half marathon, which I finished at 2 hours, 17 minutes and some change. Nothing spectacular, but I was beyond excited to be able to cross that finish line and say, hey, I pushed myself and I did it. So trust me, if I can do it, you can do it. And now after that, I was like, let's push for this marathon and complete the 3 marathons for Bank of America. And the exciting part is that they will give you an additional medal, right? So beyond excited for that. So the goal right now, at least for the next 16, 17 weeks here in this channel, is to break down my training, what works for me. Again, it may not work for you, but what works for me, and hopefully, push others to do the same. But more importantly, this is how I'm keeping myself accountable. So if you want to join me in this journey, I would love your likes, comments. If you'd like to subscribe, the goal is to give a weekly rundown up until the marathon. And God willing, we will record, and by we, I mean me, record the experience of the Chicago Marathon itself, upload it, take the good, take the bad, and then plan for the next run. So right now, as far as what I'm doing for training, I have a Corals Watch Pace 3, I believe, for keeping track of my runs. And I decided for this to train with the Runna application, as well as get some coaching from my buddy who has experience running. And then I'm working with a nutritionist, because right now I am 212 pounds. But my goal is to get to as close to 190 as possible. So lose 20, 25 pounds before October. I feel like that would do me some justice, do my knees some justice. And then I'm doing the marathon training through the Runna app, which I love. The goal is to run 5 times a week and then work out twice a week as well, and then 2 rest days. So we'll work out on the easy recovery days and take it from there. So yeah, enough of that. Let's jump into week 1's recap. Let's go. So week 1, I started a week later than most because of the marathon, a half marathon, excuse me. So after the half marathon, I took a week off just to rest and really focus on what was to come. So in that week of rest, I kind of planned out what I wanted to do, consulted a nutritionist, and we set up a game plan moving forward. So yeah, right to it, right? So I started on June 17th, which was a Monday. And then the easy run that Corals had me do was a 5-mile easy run at a pace of no less than 11 minutes, which is on the slower side. But I want to stick to the true training and see how it works out. So mile 1, 10:59, mile 2, 10:46, mile 3, 10:25. And obviously that's a bit fast. Now I slowed down for mile 4 at 14:13, and then mile 5 at 13:50. And the reason for this is I did early runs. However, this week in Chicago was in the 90s and extremely humid. I'm not used to it. I've been running in the cold since October. So this was the first real experience I had where I was just sweating profusely. So had to adjust because my heart rate was skyrocketing. And again, that's not the purpose of the run. So we were walk running just to ensure that my heart rate could stay as low as possible. Overall, felt good. We got it done. So from there, that led us into Tuesday. Tuesday was a 4.5 mile tempo run or progressive run. Also with some legs and core exercises. For this video, I won't go into the details of the workout itself, but I'm following, again, the training given by Runna, specifically for marathon training. But for this run, it was a total of 4.5 miles. Unsure why I finished at 4.38. Regardless, average pace was at 10:21. Now, the goal for this was to warm up 0.6 miles at 10:40, 1.2 miles at 10:10, 1.2 miles at 9:50, and then finished with 0.6 at 9:35. And then for the cool down, 0.3 miles. Again, walking to finish it off. So the breakdown, we did mile 1 at 10:45, mile 2, 9:53, mile 3, 9:56, mile 4, 9:33, and then that 0.38 at 13:44. But technically, I should have pushed that for, what, 0.2? At this point, 0.2 miles. Again, overall felt good. Again, extremely hot, but we got it done. That leads us into Wednesday. Wednesday, we were scheduled to do a 3.7 mile easy run. Again, no less than an 11-minute mile. I was feeling good, so we pushed it to 4.17 miles. Gave it a little extra. I guess that makes up for the previous day. But what we did as far as the breakdowns is I started a little bit hot, right? I don't know if that's the right term, but mile 1 at 10:28, mile 2 at 10:14. And this is where I said, okay, let's bring it back. Number 1, it's hot. Number 2, we need to stick to the 11-minute mark. So I did 11:41 for mile 3 and 11:44 for mile 4, and then finished the 0.17 at 14:25 with that walking pace. Amazing. That leads us into Thursday. Thursday, we had a full body strength session, which we completed. And what I did is I did that in the afternoon, but in the morning is when I ran. And this was a 0.6 mile repeats intervals for a total of 4.8 miles. Again, unsure why I wrapped it up early, but I did 4.11. So 0.7 miles missing from this training. Regardless, this is what we have in the books. So mile 1, well, let's look at the splits. I'm sorry, because that'll give us a more a better breakdown of the timing. So 1.2 miles warming up at 10:20 pace, and then 0.6 at 9:16, 0.6 at 9:19, 0.6 at 10:10, 0.6 at 10:01, and then we finished with 16:21 and 8:47 for that about 0.2 or so of that mile. Again, overall, feeling good. Felt like I could have pushed it more. But since it's the first week, I don't want to overdo it because I've been struggling with some shin splints. So I'm taking it easy on my feet. This week, or Friday, excuse me, was a rest day, full rest, no activities. And then this leads us into Saturday. Now, if you're still here listening, for those that don't run in hot weather, do not run in the middle of the day when it's sunny and it's 91 and humid. So I was like, you know what? I'll just take water. I feel great. And I took off. And I quickly learned that I had I committed a mistake. So out of the 8.1 mile long one that we had scheduled, I only completed 5.99. So I didn't even have the decency to go 6 miles. Average pace was 12:02. Awful. And these were the splits. So mile 1, 10:44. It was hot. Mile 2, 10:59. Hot, and heart rate started to skyrocket. Mile 3, 11:08. Mile 4, 11:50. Mile 5, 13 minutes. And the 0.99 at 14:31. So essentially, right, those last 2-3 miles or so, I was walking, running, because my heart rate jumped into the 160 range, and That was not the goal of this run. My goal for long runs is to try and stay in zone 2 as much as possible, unless I push it. So without pushing it and feeling exhausted, my heart rate was already skyrocketing. So definitely a learning experience. But this is the point of training, right? Taking each week or each individual day and say, okay, this is what I did right, this is what I did wrong, and let's work on that for next week. So that'll lead us into week 2 of this run. But overall, feeling good. I'm switching between 3 shoes. I'm doing the Nike Zoom Flies. I have 2 pairs for my easy runs. I have the Adidas Adios 3, which I used for my marathon. I'm sticking with those for speed runs. They feel great on my feet. And then for those long runs, I'm using the Asics Super Blast, which I absolutely love. Honestly, I could use that shoe for absolutely everything. But it works for me. I've been using it for months now, along with the Coros watch, and then my Runna app. So overall, I feel good about the gear that I have. And then now the point is to eat well, hydrate well, and keep pushing it and taking it from there. So if you're still here, I appreciate your time, your patience. Like I said, if you want to join me in this marathon prep for the Chicago Marathon in October, please like, subscribe, comment. Would love some feedback, especially if you are a runner yourself. Let me know what works for you and see if I can incorporate it into my training. As always, happy running. This is June with June Running. Hope you enjoyed hearing about my training. Hopefully it inspires at least one of you to get out there and run. Until next week, like I said, happy running. Adios.